Okay, there we go.
And
We made
we're
it.
back.
That's right.
And
ManCon, baby.
ManCon 4
I don't know why I'm doing this.
because it's so awesome.
Gotta change the search algorithm, put ManCon instead of the full name.
Yeah, well, the
Test the two
comments
against each other.
yeah, the comments will be from much younger people and full of slurs. It's not
Oh man.
if we brand this as ManCon, so,
Yeah, yeah.
we should probably, not ride that line too
It'll
hard.
be great. Listen. In for
Yeah,
a penny, in for a pound.
yeah. But, I mean, we
I
do
found
gotta
you for
kinda
a recommendation from Dr. Peterson. Is that right? You gonna teach me how to fix
Oh.
my life?
I would honestly, I'd probably quit, you know what I'm saying? If, like, like, "Hey, whatever we're doing, it's not working,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
gonna go get another job."
yeah.
Speaking of,
Yes.
rent, expensive, right?
Yeah, that's
It's,
true.
hard to pay the bills, so I had to just make a stop up to New York real quick,
Yeah, no, listen,
clear out.
I love that you're picking up extra jobs. I think
Yeah,
that's really important,
yeah.
Like, somebody's gotta fight for George Santos, and if it's not us, then who, you know?
Well, I mean, yeah, fight for them. Work clearing out this place,
Yeah,
just sure,
yeah.
either way, support, just supporting, which, I don't know. We'll see, that'll be the next episode as far as like what happens for the New York
I got it. Listen, I
election.
said this yesterday. This is already like, it's awful weather up there. This is gonna be decided by 20 people from Long Island. And I just hope that it's the funniest candidate possible, Otherwise, we're really
Well,
taking a step backwards.
unless there's a substantial write-in candidate that I don't know about,
Yeah,
you know,
which
uh
there could be.
it's honestly it's
Which
got a classic
yeah,
New York Democrat,
yeah,
very
yeah,
much built out, establishment, wanted to push the party to the right.
yeah,
And then you've got an IDF soldier.
yeah, yeah.
So, there's great options here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
very
got Richie
excited.
Torres again.
Which
In a second chair, yeah.
yeah, yeah. Um, but, the big news,
Yeah, big
um,
game.
big game, big game.
Biggest game there's ever been. I like that, I was doing that tongue in cheek, but actually, I think it was the most watched. Up
Oh, yeah.
8% from last year. The Swift effect
Yeah.
in full Mercury retrograde.
The Swifties making it happen.
It's crazy.
Um, which and not that surprising, but the thing is that it's always funny is she gets like 3 seconds of airtime,
Yeah,
per game,
yeah. Except for this
it
time.
yeah, well, this time, Dark Brandon apparently had to step in,
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
um, and, rig the game, of course, who
Ooh.
knows if it's gonna help.
Yeah.
But, there's some, commercials and, I don't know if you even watched any of it, but, like, man,
A
as someone
couple.
like yeah, really, not
Yeah.
great, honestly, you know?
I think here's the thing. I think what's interesting to me about the commercials this year is they very much show a break towards millennial advertising. Like, if you go back to like the 2000s, and you really look at a lot of those commercials, they're very geared to boomers because they are like the biggest generation spending money that like following year, right? Like
Yeah.
now they've moved on to us, and I'm not sure they understand the millennial brain really. Like they hit on some things that should like touch. I think Paramount may be one of the better examples of like what millennials could be interested in. But even that is like as much as I love the chaotic nature of it, it is really just a hodgepodge of like and Creed and Patrick Stewart and Hey Arnold and Peppa Pig. You're getting all this, right? All these things
Yeah.
are good for you.
Yeah. Wait, it's like, it's just mini recreations of, what is that? Everything, Everywhere, All at Once,
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just like little 2 minutes of those
Yeah,
for
yeah,
each little like genre that they have. Um, However, there is one commercial
yeah.
that I think really knocked it out of the park.
The RFK Jr. campaign ad.
Okay, so 2 commercials,
Yeah.
2 that really knocked it out of the park.
Okay,
Okay,
okay.
so of course, yeah, that RF made some
Yeah,
waves.
yeah, yeah.
And just want to remind people that legally campaigns and PACs and super PACs cannot work together, and that did not happen.
Correct, exactly.
RFK made sure he let that be known.
It was exactly. He did pin it as his tweet, but just again to let people know how much he didn't support it.
Yes, didn't work
So
together. Very sorry about it. Also,
that's
the
right.
pinned tweet. Tweeted
Yeah,
it
yeah.
before the commercial aired,
Yeah, yeah,
then pinned it. But number 2, and this got international news coverage.
yeah.
Sky News Australia not sending their best. Feet washing.
Yes.
There
Finally,
are Christian conservatives
that are foot
who
fetishists. Yeah,
well, I guess they just didn't want it known. Is that what it was? They're like, "Oh
yeah,
my god, you're telling people
yeah.
about how much we like getting on those little toesies?"
Listen, people can't know how we feel about those little piggies.
Just want them in my mouth.
Yeah, what an odd, strange venture that commercial. Man, I understand. Obviously, everybody's very quick to rush and be like, "Hey, listen, like these guys are anti-abortion, they're anti-LGBT." It's like, yeah, but they did just make a 1 minute long ad about touching on some feet.
And
I'm really
yeah,
trying to decipher like the evil like spurious nature of this.
and that's where, especially for me, where it's like, I'm not sure, like how many people are going out there and being like, maybe I should go to church this Sunday,
Right.
right?
There's one weirdo that's like, "Hmm, well, well,
Yeah.
well."
No,
Seems
it's
like
just like,
some things
yeah, there
intersect.
yeah, exactly. There are a few where it's like, "I thought that's what's going on here."
I haven't
But,
gone for years, but it looks like they've changed their status quo up there.
yeah, but and I'm not too surprised by it, but it is, kind of, like, alarming to, like, watch it, like, play out where, like, the
Yeah,
right wing is upset about any type of, like, solidarity. They're
yeah,
upset at, like, the very obvious things.
yeah,
Right? That is, like, the message of Jesus or whatever. Because like, even if, like, "Oh, hey," what I'm saying, God, fire, brimstone, flood the world, kind of a bastard,
yeah,
and, like,
yeah, yeah,
sorry,
yeah.
yeah, but Jesus, he's the good, what I'm saying? Right? He's
Yeah, yeah,
nice, and he loves
he's the dude.
everybody,
Yeah.
right? And reminding right-wingers of that
Mhm.
enrages them,
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
and that's, like I mean, I don't know. It just seems like an amazing own goal to
I
be.
mean, just kinda writ large for the game, I think, conservatives are very man, it's weird how, like, the mentality has changed, like, 2024 is now the year of, like, gay boys playing football, you know? Like, I can't believe listen, what do you mean you're gonna root for the Kansas City Chiefs? Don't you mean the vaccinated City Chiefs?
Yeah.
You know, like, it's wild, like, the understanding now in the conservative mind. Like, I thought I was hallucinating. I saw Elijah Schaffer, this weirdo freak little, like, far-right guy, tweeting out a picture of the inside of the Super Bowl stands. It's one of those Wojak ones where it's the all same face ones. They're like, this is the current thing. But it's like people sitting in the Super Bowl seats, and I'm like, man, what happened?
Yeah, like
This was your domain.
yeah, yeah.
What are we doing?
It's a sports game. Yeah, because
Like
like whenever he was like,
last year, Bud Light and fucking, Toby Keith. This year, I can't believe what the Wokies have done to culture with their football.
it's absolutely wild. Because
Yeah,
like the thing is like I couldn't imagine it's like, like I grew up in Columbus, Ohio, and like walking into an Ohio State game, it's like, look at all these sheeple wearing the same thing. Like
yeah, yeah.
it's a sports game actually, right?
Yeah.
It's you're at home, right? It's a home game.
Yeah.
No, it's yeah, I I
It's a
don't know,
very interesting
yeah.
occurrence that, football has taken on a very, like, culture war narrative for conservatives, you know?
And this is
I
the
don't
thing
know.
that like I really don't get, you know what I'm saying? Right? Is that like at least like there's like this idea, of like, oh, my wife's the cool one. She watches football, right?
Yeah.
And up comes this moment in life, right? Where like Taylor Swift,
Right.
like a generational star,
Yeah.
right? Okay. Like sold a shit ton of records for over a decade now, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
She gets involved in the sport that you like,
Yeah, like,
drawing
she and for
attention from so many of her fans,
yeah.
women that like old and young, right? So
Yeah.
all guys, if you like football, right? Hey, here's your chance. Don't fumble the ball,
Yeah.
and they lose
Get
their
him in
minds,
there.
and they lose
It's
their
crazy. Like,
minds.
she's the blueprint for these fake white supremacists. She is blonde-haired, blue-eyed, like, they've, like, they're looking through a queer-coded lens now at the relationship of her and Travis Kelce. They're like, "No, it's gay for these 2 to be together." I'm like, "What?
But
I
it is-
thought I thought that's what it is supposed to be the football guy and the
yeah.
prom queen together, man. What are we
I
doing
and
here?"
it's so much of like, especially like it's crazy how like that traditional, yeah, right.
Yeah, like that's it. Like you go back to like 50s iconography, Like you go back to some of those Saturday Evening Posts, like pictures and everything. That's it.
Yeah,
They're showing you the football
I
guy
mean on
and
it,
the
yeah,
lady.
yeah, yeah.
And
Because
now conservatism is just like, oh, disgusting. I can't
when
believe what are they both vaxxed?
when Joe Biden wrote up this narrative, right?
Yeah,
They really, and like I don't blame them. They really thought they would be able to, psyop all of these, conservatives with, a nice love story,
yeah.
right? Wh- White man that used to
Little did
date black
he
women,
know. Yeah,
right? Going back and saying, "Oh no,
yeah,
blonde, right? Miss Flat Booty, you're the one." This
yeah,
is the white
yeah,
supremacist narrative
yeah,
that they've
man.
wanted, right? And Brandon was like, "They can't. They like they they'll love it, right? They're gonna
Yeah,
come.
this is it. They're gonna
This
they're
is
gonna
it."
be about this. Yeah.
No, and they're like, "No, no, that heterosexual relationship is
It's
vaxxed and
it's
gay,
oh,
actually."
that's so weird, man.
Yeah.
I'm really trying to understand it. I just
No, it's normal. This is our world now. This is like
this
our
is the
world.
world ending.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. What a game though. Wow. I
Yeah.
watched I watched it specifically on Nickelodeon. So I
What was
think
that
they should
like?
I think they should do everything, Marcus. I think did you see any of the
I
Nickelodeon
I
videos?
I did not watch.
They had Tom Kenny rigged up in a VTuber outfit. He was doing like VTuber SpongeBob, man.
Oh, wow.
Speaking
Okay.
over, like
Yeah,
voicing
yeah.
over, they would have like different like crowd stills and everything. They had like I forget what it was, but they did a joke on Timothy Chalamet, but he was a fish, like all sorts of different stuff.
Oh, wow,
It was
wow, wow.
awesome. It was like
Yeah,
Bikini
yeah.
Bottom and whatnot, watching the Super Bowl. And I think it should be extended. Somebody on Twitter said if we had that in election season, could you imagine? I want SpongeBob narrating election 2024.
I mean, why not?
Yeah, I want and the loser of the contest gets slimed, okay?
Yeah, which
And shamed.
can can we have some Legends of the Hidden Temple somewhere mixed in here? Okay?
Be
Because I feel
careful.
like
The Temple Guardians, they will
yeah,
take the votes across the
we're
lines.
gonna weed out some of these geriatrics once they match up with Olmec, okay?
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be
So
amazing.
yeah, yeah. Let's
Man,
do this.
yeah.
We gotta lean in. Our country's a joke. We gotta lean
This
in.
is what I was saying about the Santos thing earlier today. Like, hey, listen, I want everybody to be entertaining. I know these people aren't going to serve my best interests, and they're probably going to commit to, mass forms of genocide, just ramping that up in the next couple of decades. So
Yeah,
they should at least be entertaining.
yeah. Can they
Ah,
do
man.
drag though?
Oh man. Speaking of other things that happened on Super Bowl night, boy, first part of the first quarter, Bibi Netanyahu just decided, even though, but listen, I know you can't believe it, but even though Biden is extremely upset with him,
Oh yeah,
has said slurs about this man in public at this point,
yeah.
Benjamin Netanyahu just did it anyway.
Didn't
Just
care.
started attacking a refugee city.
Yeah, it's almost as if, and really
Mhm.
stop me if you think I'm going too far.
Okay, all right, all
Um,
right. I'll put the brakes on you.
do you think Benjamin Netanyahu
Mhm.
and some of these, I mean, some of considered right wing, I think the
Yeah.
jury's still out, but do you think they just don't care at all what
I
Biden has to
mean,
say?
I think it's wild. I think it is wild for like, I don't know. I'd say it's pretty unprecedented for like one of our client states just be like, they're not gonna, nah, we don't care.
I
Like, could
honestly,
you like think
I feel
about
like
this? Could you imagine like Zelensky like sitting around and just being like, "Pff, brother, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm gonna do whatever I want if that's okay."
oh, yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
Which
I
is
did.
and that's where it's almost I want these tapes to be released, right? Like,
Yeah,
I want some sort of, like, these recordings because, like, they're laughing in his face, right?
yeah. They're
They're,
like,
like, literally, like, he's saying words, and then
yeah.
they're responding with laughter. "Sure, guy. Yeah, we'll get right on that, pops. Thanks."
Right, like, the State Department spokesman keeps saying, like, "Those are private conversations," like, everything they say. Why? Tell me what's been said, man. Like, unless you think it's gonna breach national security, explain to me what, or it's gonna breach, like, an ongoing operation for them. What
Yeah.
did they say? What was their answer when you said, "Hey, we're none too pleased with you, you guys going in to the one place where you told people to go for the past 4 months?" All right, we're none too pleased with you all going in there and murdering those folks. Like,
Yeah, and
what
then
did they
yeah,
say?
and it's because the facts on the ground
Mhm.
are just so far gone, or so even far beyond to the things that, like, they're being challenged on.
Yeah,
Because it's not just like, like talk about aid, you know, there's, a rave blocking one of the gates that's being held by the IDF, you know, there's like flower shipments that are being held in one of the ports. There is a myriad of other things that are going along with they moved, almost 2 million people
yeah,
in Rafah and then are just saying, "Well, we're gonna come up with a plan." Sure. They start bombing during the Super Bowl. And there's like, I believe Haaretz did some the story of they're talking about releasing or they're talking about rescuing the same hostage multiple times.
yeah,
It's just and with all of this, the Biden administration, Blinken and the State Department ghouls will straight face just say, no, we're continuing to stress civilians' lives are,
yeah.
need to be
Not even straight
protected.
face. That one State
Oh,
Department ghoul just
oh,
sits there smirking like throughout, and he's like, like, I don't.
yeah,
Sorry, if you're nervous about this, my man, like, you
yeah.
got to switch out with somebody else. But I can't have you in and out these press conferences just sitting there smiling people's faces as you tell them like, "Oh, sorry," Wish we
Yeah,
could do anything
Randolph
about this.
Randolph from Recess was maybe a bad choice for a
Yeah,
State
like
Department
I
gig.
just God, like the one that really hits is when they're talking about that 6-year-old girl, and he's just like, I mean, I got kids too,
Oh,
and I'm like,
yeah,
what is
yeah.
wrong with
He's
you? What is
disgusting human
happening?
being. Yeah. No, and,
And
I
Kirby's no bet. Kirby just sitting
no.
there like, well, like they straight up ask him like, hey, listen, man, they're going into the refugee city. Do you have a problem with that? They're going into the place. They're going to massacre hundreds of people just in the first 24 hours. You guys got a plan about that? Well, listen, Israel's got the right to defend itself. Against what, man? Where do you want these people to go? Against what?
Right? Right?
Against the
Th
children they haven't slaughtered yet? Like, explain to me. Again,
Yeah,
are they future proofing the IDF at this point?
it
Because
is.
they know that certain amount of these youths are going to get radicalized just by nature of seeing their families erased. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. And, like, that's the thing is that, like, there's I could not imagine, right? This is some of the most despicable shit I've ever seen in my life, you know?
Yeah.
Um, and you couldn't imagine what somebody's response, or at least you obviously can't imagine, right? That's
Yeah.
um, but that the thing is, the Palestinians in Gaza just want it to stop,
Yeah. That's it.
right? It's
Like,
like even and it's like the latest deal from Hamas is like
all the
three
hostages, baby.
three 45-day
Yep.
segments, release and trade for all the hostages,
Hmm.
complete end.
And then now it's like, sorry. That's
No,
all the hostages. That's not good enough. I know I'm going to make 3 Super Bowl ads about how they all have to come home, but
right?
also,
Yeah, and then, obviously the expansion, um, well, definitely not connected airstrikes in
yeah.
multiple different countries, and like the like when they like say like, "Oh no, we care about sovereignty."
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We are
That's
attacked
right.
in Jordan, airstrikes in Syria and Iraq.
That's
They
right.
supposedly we are in Iraq on invitation of the government, regardless
Yeah.
of what their legislature has done this a few times. But there was no coordination whatsoever
Yeah.
with the government. And that seems, that seems like a little bit of lack of sovereignty. If I'm in your house and I
I'll
just start
bet.
tearing down, your walls, saying, "Oh no, I just wanted to put a
Back to the
window
old
here."
days, baby.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Ah,
You gotta ask first.
yeah. Well, you think.
Yeah, but
Think that that's how it would be.
you would
I don't
think.
know, man. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just I with every passing day, I just like struggled to really grasp like when this might be over, when, Benjamin Netanyahu, the IDF, the ruling, members of the set, like everything about it. Like I just wonder like when's enough gonna be enough? And I'm really
And
coming up with
yeah,
straws for when that's gonna happen, short
um,
of them,
yeah.
this entire population being butchered.
No, and I honestly, I think that, like, I think we, I might have to get, like, just real with ourselves
Yeah,
and have this understanding that it's like Netanyahu and his right-wing coalition, they won't ever stop by, their own choice.
yeah,
They have to be stopped, and as to, there needs to be a global, like, coalition that cuts off diplomatic and economic ties until they are willing to not do this, right?
yeah,
And like this is only going to come from like, mass mobilizations of people protesting to mass mobilizations of people withholding their labor,
yeah,
withholding their, consumerism in certain, but these things need to interlock. Nation states need to step up and actually start, expelling is, like, because it is all, I mean, it's been obvious, right? It's been obvious to anybody that's paying attention to day one, but you know, Egypt is now saying they, potentially cutting off ties or like wanting to, pull out of the Abraham Accords. And more of that needs to happen. They have to be stopped. I don't think that Netanyahu, with where he's up against the wall, and then
yeah,
who may come after Netanyahu, You know, I don't put trust, you know, with whoever that may be. Um, you know, the international community's got to step in here and put a stop to this. Period.
Yeah. A lot of chatter from folks, the past like week or so, like, well, the ICJ ruling has led like different countries to stop supplying like X or Y. And it's like, and I don't think you get it. Like, it's not just, not just one country. Like, it's not just Japan severing like certain economic ties with like weapon manufacturers or anything like that. Like, we need like just a fully like mobilized like global front, man. Like,
Yeah,
these are just little, bits and bobs. The
yeah,
Israeli, like, mission is still gonna chug on.
yeah. And that's
Like,
that's where especially for us, in like the West, Americans,
mhm,
um, the only way that things are really going to change is when you make things untenable,
yeah,
really for like the people for in the position of power, and that can
mhm,
come in. It comes in a myriad of ways. So it comes in a collection of different avenues.
yeah,
Um, but I mean, yeah, I had hope that there would be some sort of pressure that could come that to pressure the officials to have Biden pick up the phone, and do what Reagan did,
yeah,
and
yeah,
say enough,
yeah.
right? That's not happening.
It's not happening.
I,
Yeah.
I you know,
Like, that's kinda it, though, honestly. It's just like, at what point? Because, yeah, as much as people, like, sit around, they do this, like, "Oh, well, Joe's had enough, Joe's mad at" like, you've seen this, like, every week for the past couple of months, like, "Joe's really mad this time. Oh, well, hey, listen,
yeah,
this time for sure?" It's like, man,
yeah.
I
No,
can't help but think you're giving cover to his continued, commitment to allowing them to do whatever they want, you
yeah,
know?
yeah,
I really listen, I hate they're doing as much as you do, but, something's gotta he tweeted out yesterday, like, "Hey, listen, everything it takes until the hostages come home." So you can only be so mad about what they're doing, actually.
yeah. And like in the I'm really saddened because like this idea that it's like, oh well, he said the reaction is over the top.
Over the top, yeah.
Ooh, ooh. When, he said that the Hamas response for the peace agreements,
Yeah,
right? Their phased, complete ceasefire agreement.
yeah.
He referred to that as over top. He said there were parts of that that are over the top.
Nice, cool.
So now you've got like both of these things.
Yeah,
Joe Biden's mind can be described as over the top. So this is a term that's largely meaningless. Yeah.
right. Like,
It's just
explain to me yeah,
it could be something that is minorly, oh hey, this little part we got to get rid of it, or this is a major problem
right.
that's causing tens of thousands
There's
of
no
dollars of
actual
people.
metric for any of this.
Right, right, exactly. It's just just some old bastard
Yeah.
just saying words.
This is flim flams and whipsy doos.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, sure is.
Yeah, yeah. Which, we I think, um, here at ManCon, no. We've got some pretty biting commentary, but we
Yeah.
haven't we really haven't flamed, Joe Biden like somebody else
God, man. I mean,
decided to
you're
come
not
back.
listen, we've had a lot of criticism, but boy howdy. I think you're talking about that Jon Stewart episode. His first night back to the Daily
Oh,
Show.
man,
I
yeah.
can't believe he said that,
I
honestly.
can't I can't believe
And
it.
still calls himself Democrat. I just,
Wow. Yeah. Who does he
wow,
think he is?
man. It was fun. Listen, it may have been funny back in the day, but not anymore. Right?
Yeah.
Not when my Joey Bido's in the house. Okay.
Honestly, I think he's trying to have an interview with Putin.
Yeah, that's right. I think it's very that's very funny considering like, like I don't know. I guess hats off to Jon Stewart for saying what he did, but also like the man's so like extremely like xenophobic and everything. So it's wild to think that he would ever like actually be like a left actor, you know? But
It
yeah, like I don't know. It's so like the liberal response. Like here's the thing: regular, regular, everyday voters have no problem saying, "Yeah, man, this guy's old. I'm still going to vote for him because like I'm not going to vote for Trump." Regular, everyday Dem voters
yeah.
have no problem saying that whatsoever. But man, when you get to like Aaron Rupar, or you get to like Brooklyn Dad, or you get to any of these
Oh man.
NBC correspondents, it's like you stab the family member in front of them. They're like, John, how could you say that? Don't you understand how that's not helpful?
Yeah. Because it
Listen, would you compare the Emperor from Emperor Palpatine from Star Wars and Yoda? They were both old.
and that's where it's like, yeah, it's wild too because I've seen some clips where like, like from the past Daily Show, they're willing to say things
Yeah,
about Palestine. They're willing
yeah,
to actually like make that critique. And so
absolutely.
like at first I like literally it's like I saw the reaction, right? And I
Mhm.
was like, "Oh shit, he did it." Right?
He did it.
He just called them all. Hey,
That's
wow,
it.
old. They're old, and they're like,
It's
gasp.
like, look at me. I'm old too. We're all getting old.
Yeah, and I
Slow march
mean,
of time gets us all, baby.
well, and that's where the report, the report for the classified documents had come out,
Yeah.
and the Republican guy that Joe Biden's attorney general appointed as the
Yeah.
special counsel.
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy, he, her, he, he, a completely, completely roasted him. And
Yeah.
like, honestly, like when you talk about like, oh, hey, is this right or wrong? Whatever, hit job, who cares? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
he's
It
not
doesn't matter.
really
That's
saying,
politics, man. What is this? The
right?
first day? Yeah.
I mean, and this is where it's just like the Democrats, the party overall, they are really just too high on their own farts of
Yeah.
this like greater responsibility of being in government. And they just keep tripping over their own over their own feet
Yeah.
because the idea that just like I mean, hey, Merrick Garland, like, can we get this guy out of here? What the hell? You know what I'm saying? Like, and because there's just so many things. How long did it take to even start any of this stuff with like Trump and all that type?
Yeah.
Like this idea that it's like, oh, we're waiting this long. January 6th investigation, Robert Mueller laid the groundwork, right? You didn't need to do that much. You know what I'm saying? So it's just none of that makes any sense. Yeah.
Mhm.
Uh, but then letting this, appointment continue on, and then he writes this thing, and like, I mean, my guy, like you're like literally watching Brutus walk up to Caesar, and you're just like,
Yeah. It's crazy. It's
just
important to remember in retrospect that this was gonna be like the Obama's appointment to the Supreme Court.
I know. This
That
is
this
the
was
guy. This
this
is
guy
the
would have went
guy.
with Kennedy and them like 5 times out of 6, man.
Yeah. Oh, it's insane, dude. Insane. Hey,
Yeah.
independent,
Yeah.
independent.
Absolutely, just an
They got to
independent,
do it.
baby.
It's like, dog.
Yeah.
Because
This was the guy that like really this is the guy that satisfied the Republicans some
yeah,
like 9 years ago, you know?
I'm not sure.
It's
I'm not sure why they're mad at Jon Stewart and
yeah.
not mad.
No, it doesn't make like again, yeah, he's just pointing out the obvious. He's like, "Listen, can we agree that this guy's kind of old and maybe if listen, because this is my same thing with like the IDF, right? Like they're quite literally like faking photos of refugees, right? They're like,
Yeah,
"Hey, listen," like showing like 2022 photos from Ukraine of just like these are good refugee camps that we've made. So if you don't have a photo and you have to fake it, that tells me you got 0 photos of actually, like, taking care of refugees, you know? In that
yeah.
same sentence, Joe, if Kamala and a all these other people that are adjacent to you have to tell me how good you're doing, but we
Sean,
can't get any of that, like, actually, You know, all we
Yeah.
get is like you sitting around and fucking losing the thread during like live speeches, like TikToks that half make sense. Like, I'm sorry, man, but no, could you give me that evidence of this guy and how bright and snappy he is?
And that's
You're
it's
talking to me. Like he's just so like he's always like so loose and alert. It sounds like you're describing like my dog that's about to die, man. Like, no,
yeah.
listen, he loves looking at the outside and watching those squirrels. Got a lot of long years of life ahead of him.
Yeah. No,
Man.
it's and like part of it's like insulting, right?
Yeah.
Because like at the end of the day, we know some people are who is it? Like Axelrod.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like there are like some pundits that like they're saying it out loud,
Yeah.
and it's honestly fine.
There's one former Secretary of State that was brave enough to say it out loud. Hillary
Eh,
Clinton was able
Did
to point out how old he's getting.
oh wow,
That's right.
damn. I mean that's
She also said it's very
eh,
concerning.
I like because
I mean,
like
that's probably self-serving on her own part, but still, like,
right at that point too, it's like
yeah,
heart
yeah.
attack gun
It's
is
knives
coming
out,
out.
baby.
Yeah. Uh
Kamala Harris beset on all sides. Like, no, I deserve this.
but no, it's obvious, and this is where, I mean, really, at the end of the day, um, for people who are able to get past the support for genocide,
Yeah,
you don't got to do much,
yeah,
but you don't got to lie.
uh-huh,
For the people who, and this is where I think the majority of Biden voters, especially this second go round, are anti-Trump voters,
yeah,
and
yeah.
it's I don't know. I don't know why you think you're getting, getting one over on anyone. Like they're
Right,
actually getting something out of this deal
right,
other
like,
than not Trump. That
listen, you just got to offer voters like a thing. Like we can be because what's here's the thing. Do you think you're going to pull that many people away that can't vote for Trump? Like you're not losing. I get that's the way that you see Aaron Rupar and these other people arguing it. They're like, "Well, isn't Trump's old too?" And it's like, I don't I think it's not going to convince somebody to vote for Trump if you're like Biden's old, you weirdo. They
yeah,
want to vote for Biden for other reasons.
yeah, and that's
Okay?
yeah.
Like,
Well, and the part of my frustration too is that like people get mad if you don't love Biden. They're
yeah.
like, well, because and also too, it's like, well, I've got some like political theories, that I've developed all on my own because I'm a political scientist.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But I'm waiting, saving it for the book. Um, but essentially, Democrats continuously will, do these mediocre changes, some of these small little things, and they'll stand on it as if they changed the world,
Right.
and when you talk about the student loan debt, it's very it's good, but a lot of these policies already existed. They just did what was already on the books, which I am in favor of. However, the thing that you actually promised didn't happen at all.
Yeah.
And a lot of it, and the Supreme Court. Well, the problem is too is that sometimes the executive gets to do things and just not care what like if he had pushed fast, on the student
Mhm.
loan debt while you're still under the auspices of COVID,
Yeah.
at that point, what is the Supreme Court going to do? And like, if you actually just push it through and they make you their decision, oh, hey, that was bad. Okay, well, then Congress is going to have to do something about it and literally draft a legislation to call that money back. They can't, the Supreme Court
Yeah.
can't do anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, and especially if it's an already executive action that has
Mhm.
been done, like, what, bang your gavel and go back in time? You
Yeah.
can't. Sorry. And those are things that like all of like within staffers within the White House knew this and wasted time. Oh, we're gonna defer to the Supreme Court. It all goes away.
Mhm.
You know, but that these minor things, great. We love him. Oh, student loan debt's supposed to be so great. Some of this jobs are like, oh, the Chips and Sciences Act or the IRA. This is
Yeah.
the
I
biggest
wanna what are we
climate. bill
That's
ever.
my thing. Like, what are you defending Biden over, man? Like, you get like a weak pittance from the IRA. Maybe you're in like the infrastructure game, and like this really lands like hard for you for maybe you're a project manager. Like
Yeah.
maybe you've got like a student loan, like a federal loan or something that actually got forgiven. But like, what are we're fighting for scraps here, man.
I mean, hey,
The
like
the
more
the
vehicle
the
chargers are going to be out on the road
the
sometime around election
discussion
year.
being had here, and I think a general like disgust amongst like not just us, but I think just like voters in general that are kind of like wondering about this is why was there never why was there never an alternative like provided with so many people in the party that have the ability to pick up the reins?
Yeah, yeah.
Like
Because and the thing is too.
Biden himself telling his aides in 2019, like, "Hey, maybe one term." I don't know.
Well, and this is where with for the DNC, if you refuse to see Hillary Clinton
Yeah.
as the flawed candidate that she was, and not even flawed candidate, the horribly flawed campaign that was run,
Yes. Poorly run
right?
campaign.
It's not just, "Oh, hey, Hillary has these things that people don't like about her specifically,"
Yep.
but the campaign was also dog shit.
Yep. Absolutely.
They refused to see that,
Mhm.
and so that means, right,
They refused to
they're
see it because
they
she was the purse strings for the party.
yeah, well,
They were just
and
like,
like,
"Let her run it how she wants because she makes us money.
they just have
She
a
knows
bad
best."
analysis though,
Yep.
right? This is leaves them with a horrible analysis
Yep.
as to who can beat Trump,
Mhm.
because, oh my god, it had to be Russia and Jill Stein
Yeah.
because Hillary was so great,
Yeah.
right? The next time around, Bernie Bros, don't ruin it for us this time.
No.
And they thought that it was Joe Biden that won, but no, people were voting against Trump.
Yeah.
And what
That's why
they
they don't
do,
like the
what
guy.
right, and what they're failing to see is this is the perfect time that you do the changeover.
Yeah.
When you got the guy, with the rapist, 91
He's back.
indictments,
You can put anybody against him and
like,
win. He's
good
back. You
god,
could you could make a future for the party.
and I
It's not like in 2028 when Nikki Haley is gonna run, somebody that's much more
then you
palatable,
got your problem. Now you
you
got a
know?
problem. Yeah.
Yeah, then you've got an issue. No, this is the easiest fucking alley-oop. All right?
It's so crazy. It's so and like they
This
really they it just like and that's where I don't know, how far it could go back or whatever. But at the end of the day, Obama was able to usurp, the Clinton establishment within the party,
yeah,
you know, and then, she said, no, step on it. It's me or nobody else.
yeah,
When Biden comes in, they just don't understand how bad Hillary was, how bad her campaign was, how people don't really like Biden all that too much, but he did make some promises. He
yeah.
didn't keep any of those promises, and people really don't like Trump. I mean, literally
Or,
anyone.
as you or and I and other people surmise, maybe it is at the end of the day just about the fundraising. It really doesn't matter. Like they're gonna fundraise even better if Biden loses. If we're being
Yeah.
honest, like they're gonna
I
kill in 2026 midterms.
I mean, that's what I mean,
Like
well,
it's like if
yeah,
you're thinking that
yeah.
has to be their calculus because there can be no other. If it's just like, listen,
Gosh.
Biden's gonna
I
what
hope
man?
I hope they just
If
I
he
ho
makes it in 2028, I want to see his fucking brain. This
I
guy's gonna be catatonic, brother. Like, this guy's gonna be staring off into space, having a
Yeah.
psychic translator tell us what he thinks and feels.
I mean, we're
In no way
close.
you're gonna tell me this is a good idea.
Yeah, we're in like a mix between Idiocracy and Futurama, you know what I'm saying? We're like, it's gonna be some floating old dude's head in a jar,
Yeah.
like just like vibrating, and it's like, "Nah, we gotta do another drone strike,"
Yeah.
the head
Yeah.
said.
Go
Oh,
back to the old days of the volcano worship. We're just like, listen, or you know what? On Warhammer 40K. I don't know if you're familiar, but just like the emperor, like left in his little casket all on his own. It's like this is what he would want.
yeah,
He'd want us to take over the entirety of the cosmos.
let's do it. I mean, why not?
Pretty
Why
sure.
not? we're on autopilot anyway, and I mean, because it's what's funny is that you know, between, like, Biden and you got Lloyd Austin who,
Man, that man's back in the hospital too.
he's
Yeah.
well, the
That
thing
guy's
is that,
gonna
like,
die.
this thing just keeps rolling, right?
Yeah,
Like like this, this global empire, right? It just
yeah,
keeps lumbering along. Um, and yeah, like and that's where it's like you really don't like just stop gaslighting. You know what I'm saying? Stop with stop lying.
yeah.
Like
That's it.
he's old. He's old as shit.
Yeah,
Everybody knows it. Don't get mad. Like literally, Jon Stewart's making jokes off of the most bland take.
yeah,
These two old guys are old.
yeah. Old
Gas.
guy's old. This isn't even, this isn't cutting Jon Stewart, man. This is pretty,
No.
there's a couple bits that actually, yeah, pretty good. In
See, I
the
only saw the opening, that opening monologue where,
Yeah,
it cuts them both so
yeah.
deeply.
There's a couple of good jokes in there, but overall, it is very like bland, like, and he ends with like a lot of it. I don't know, like there's so much basic analysis. It's like you can tell, like, I don't know. I hate the path of kind of like blue MAGA that a lot of Democratic operatives have taken, where it's like, no, listen, sorry, you this way or no way, or you're a Russian plant. Because if you had a basic analysis of what Jon Stewart's doing here, he is trying to just lampshade the old thing for Biden. He is trying to just like pass it off and just be like, hey, listen, they are both old. We need to talk about that. And at the end, he's like, and uh, very sanitized analysis. He's like, whether it's November 4th, November 6th, day after, day before the election, we got work to do. And it's not just about just that one vote. There's
Yeah.
probably, a lot more. If Joe Biden loses, the country is not going to like go into turmoil. And if he wins, the country isn't saved. And it's like, yeah, man. Yeah, everybody should be on at least that page.
Uh,
If you're
that's I
not, then you are
yeah.
part of one or another political cult. But
Well, yeah. No, and
you
that's
should be
like
able to
part of the
understand
issue,
those things.
right? Is like this idea of like going back to brunch. That
Yeah,
voting is hard work,
yeah. That's the
maybe
activism, baby.
right? I get online and I get in a fight with some Zoomer on Twitter or something,
Yeah,
right? About how they should love Biden.
yeah,
You vote early so you don't even have to do shit on election day. And then you save democracy.
yeah. Yeah, that's right. That's how it works.
Pretty simple, I think.
That's it. You're not wrong. Like that's the idea here. Is like the end all be all is voting. All right. There is no work to be done afterwards. That work is done by Joe Biden. He needs
Yeah.
to be there to fix things. If he's not, then everything is in disarray.
And it's so wild too, because yeah. I I'm not like putting any, like any like real like stake in this.
Yeah.
Um, but these are two very old guys,
Yeah.
and there's still a good amount of time.
October surprise. Yeah. Hey, listen, I agree. Be the funniest thing. You know. Yeah. Be an entertaining bit. Yeah. I hear you. Heard
Yeah.
loud and clear, sir. That's right. Oh
Yeah,
man.
we'll see. Well, I think,
Yeah, one
yeah,
one more thing while we're here. You, I think, maybe the most excited about this.
well,
Nancy Pelosi talking. So the aid package already passed through the Senate, right? 90
yes,
94 billion dollars
yep,
shared between Ukraine, Israel, Taiwan gets some money. Why not? And they defund UNRWA even further. Make
yeah.
sure
Well,
that
they
they
make it illegal
yeah
for
yeah
money to go to UNRWA
yeah.
at all.
So the Senate's already cleared it. And realistically, once it gets past the Senate, I'm of the understanding that's, that's normally like how it goes. House of Representatives should just kind of go in line. But Johnson was just like, nah, I'm not even going to bring it to the floor.
Yeah,
So
I love
Nancy
it.
Pelosi was like, well, we're just going to do a discharge petition. We're going to put it on the floor anyways.
Which the thing is, though, I don't know how long this might take.
Yeah. Oh, I don't either. But it at least signals some ambition from the Democrats to just start circumventing Mike Johnson, which
Which
I
that's
don't think he wants to see how that plays out amongst his own party.
well, see, because like I love the situation that the Republicans have put themselves in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If this one didn't have like dire consequences,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
would love to like sit back and just laugh.
Yeah.
Okay, but at the end of the day, if Mike Johnson brings the bill to the floor, he's
No.
done.
Yeah.
They've already said, if you
Absolutely.
bring it to the
Yeah,
floor,
they'll destroy him.
you're toast.
Yeah.
You're toast. The discharge position, from my understanding,
Mhm.
um, it takes, if a bill has been shelved
Yes.
for 30 days, and
Yes.
these have to be
They've gotta play
30
the waiting game, basically. Yeah.
legislative days, right? So
Yes.
it's not
Yes.
even, you know what I'm
So the
saying? It's not
summer. Yeah.
exactly. So we're like talking 30
Yeah.
legislative days. And I'm pretty positive I might have to brush up on my, legislative rulemaking and stuff.
Yeah.
But there's only 2 Mondays out of any month that you can
Yes.
bring a discharge petition to the
Yeah.
floor.
There's a lot of weird baseball rules for it. Yes.
So,
But
I honestly
Hakeem Jeffries could do it,
yeah,
baby.
exactly. Hey, dog, like, let's fucking see it happen.
Yeah.
Um, because it just even just like, I don't know, throw some gasoline on the YouTube fire. Like, this is kind of something where where Medicare for all
Mhm.
um was kind of like brought up in the past of like how to get that to the floor. And that's
Yes.
something that I'd actually would have liked to you see like even like test out because
Mhm.
even if you can't get your member to sign on to the discharge petition
Yeah.
for a Medicare for all bill, that tells you where they sit. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
That they're at the very least right there. So within the Democratic caucus, you would know who are your real progressives. Are
Yeah.
they on the discharge position for, it should be $20, $25 minimum wage, whatever.
Yeah.
Are they on the discharge petition for whatever progressive
Get him on
bill?
the record. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and get them on the record in a meaningful way. But
Mhm.
we'll see. And I mean, honestly, though, it's just like insane thing in the similar fashion of the immigration bill, where the bloodlust, blood drunkenness of
Yeah.
the right wing, and the far right within the Republican House is stopping Biden from doing bad things. That
Yeah.
that immigration
Yeah,
bill
which is
would have been
weird, man. Like,
awful. Yeah, and now,
because
like, aid for
this is an
Ukraine, blocking
expedient
UNRWA.
political position for them now to be anti-Biden instead,
Yeah,
blocking
and
them from doing what, more conventional older Republicans in their ranks even would very much like to see.
well, that's where the thing is, that's why they can't bring it to the floor.
Yeah,
If they could whip votes, he'd bring it to the floor and just kill it.
absolutely. Yeah,
I'm sure Trump would actually enjoy that more
yeah,
because it actually shows your power in the party.
yeah.
But he's only got and, like, it's so hilarious that, like, especially these middle of the road Republicans
Mhm.
just let themselves get railroaded,
Yeah,
you know, by, like, MTG,
yeah. Yeah.
right?
Because they have political will.
I mean, that's
They do, and
yeah,
those idiots don't. They just got in because they wanted a cushy job and they wanted to sit around and,
yeah,
make some bullshit like decisions for their state in the way of like, infrastructure spending and whatnot, and don't really care. So
yeah.
long as they have a nice little, recurring job that's gonna last for a couple decades.
Which, I mean, they might try to I think they might impeach Mayorkas, or at least they might
Yeah,
try
they're trying
again
to, yeah.
today,
They failed last time
Yeah.
to 213, 216,
It's
but
so pathetic, man.
yeah.
It's like they are not it's very pathetic, even if they do impeach Mayorkas.
Yeah.
He's not going anywhere. It's
No.
not nothing's gonna happen.
Nothing. It's for nothing. It's
And
just, again, to prove, like, how much they don't like the guy.
yeah, and
I just but
yeah,
again, like, those radical elements like MTG and others, like, they actually have political will, and, you and I, like, recognize, like, that will is inherently fascistic, but, they want to wield that power,
yeah, and well,
whereas
and that's the
most
thing is like
politicians are
them,
just happy not to.
and it's this, I think, just incredibly depressing situation
Yeah.
where the fascists are stopping the bad thing from
Yeah.
happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because
Because right
if
now, again, it's expedient to their cause to do so,
yeah,
for
yeah,
them to be like,
like, I'm
"Oh,
not,
hey, listen."
like, I'm no like, I'm not gonna be stumping for,
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
MTG, right? Like, George
But
Santos
again,
is
like,
a
if
special
his
case.
yeah.
But no, but, like, 'cause even too, like, any, like, really right-wing bill's not gonna pass,
Yeah.
but, these, the immigration bill, this type of just, funding for more, for Israel, and making, like UNRWA, like funding illegal, which one of the most disgusting things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Despicable.
it's yeah, and those, yeah, like honestly, no legislation happening and them continuing CRs.
Yeah.
That's the best bet,
Yeah.
right? Like
Just
this
complete
Congress.
gridlock is kinda honestly, kinda the vibe for 2024. Just allow that to continue.
Don't name no, like, not another post office.
Yeah.
Don't do anything. Just continuing resolution. Just ride it out until
And
something
that's
else
again,
happens.
that I think that's something the Dems are hoping for because that's another thing that probably gets them more vote share come November.
Yeah, just please don't do any more bad things. Because
God,
the things,
man.
and, like, honestly too, it's like even these drafts, like Joe Biden agreeing to an immigration bill
Yeah.
that doesn't even talk about dreamers,
Yeah.
doesn't even mention them.
Yeah.
Doesn't even send him a check for $5 and say, "Well, we're gonna come back later, we promise."
Yeah.
Not a damn thing for
Nothing.
dreamers, close down the border, all this n bullshit.
Mhm.
Like, do you think, like, the people who actually wanted, like, because that's where too, it's like there's a lot of immigration, activists that were a part of getting Joe Biden elected.
Mhm.
Like, these people were, like, knocking doors to make sure that Trump got out.
Yeah.
And if you're gonna be running on, "Well, I wanted to be Trump, but Mike Johnson didn't let me,"
Yeah.
that's just not, it's not
Sorry.
great. Like, and the
Yeah.
more legislation they cook up, the more they ostracize, like, the people who are are barely gonna vote for me, like, really wanna vote for him in the first place, and
Yeah.
it's a bad place. It's a bad
Yeah.
place.
Not great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, see what happens.
Yeah. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Your final thoughts, Marcus. We got this week.
Final thoughts for this week.
Yeah.
I'm in the same place as last week.
Still thinking about it, huh?
Still trying to find, a silver lining,
Yeah.
because fascists stopping bad things, that's not a silver lining, you
Yeah.
know? That
Yeah.
seems like a tinderbox.
Not great. Yeah. It seems like that's set to explode at some point. Yeah.
Um, but, you know what? Final thoughts. I will say though, hey, it's there was a good game, at
Yeah.
the end of the day, going into OT,
Yeah.
the new OT
It's good
rules
foot
are
I was worried the
way
first half.
better.
I was like, "Man, this might not be good football."
Yeah,
It's
no,
good
come
football.
back. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And like I'm just hopeful for somebody. Yeah, this is what I'm hoping for. Somebody taking over for Tom Brady as like the greatest quarterback ever,
Yeah.
right?
It's still like I think years back, maybe not us, but like Zoomers will probably look back at Mahomes and Brady like playing each other as kind of a clash of titans, you know?
Yeah,
The
yeah, yeah.
old the old passing on to the new.
Oh, yeah. Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. What a crazy
So
thing that they were in the Super Bowl, you know? Oh,
and it is nuts, and honestly too, like that, um yeah, and like coming back to win a Super Bowl in overtime, right?
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
come on, you know? Come on.
Couldn't have written it better
Yeah.
unless.
Oh, da, da, da!
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
about you? What about you? Final thoughts.
Hey, listen, I'm just glad that Danny DeVito was in a commercial this year, you know? That was great.
It's always good to see you. It
Yeah, him
is.
and Arnold Schwarzenegger being back together. Good.
Yeah.
I don't even care that they were shilling State Farm. Doesn't matter.
I mean, like, better than Pfizer commercials and
Yeah.
shit, you know,
That's
like,
right. Yeah.
and not anti, but like anything big pharma, you know, like they shouldn't
Yeah.
be able to do commercials. They
Actually, you
should
know what?
not be
That's
able to do
I'll tell you my
commercials.
my final thought. No Bitcoin commercials anymore. No NFTs, no nothing. None of that.
It's wild. I don't think
Yeah.
they can afford the Super Bowl this year.
Amazing. Amazing.
So I
Very
wonder
funny.
why.
Yeah. All that's gone now. We're back to just regular multi-billion-dollar advertising
Yes.
agencies, you know?
I would circling
Like you
back,
belong.
the IDF lady that's running for the George Santos seat
Yeah, yeah.
is a big Bitcoin
Yeah.
investor.
I saw that. I saw that.
So
Man, whatever. Her and Eric Adams are gonna, like, sit down and hang out together. It's gonna be great.
yeah, just working out the budget in Ethereum. Fucking
Eric
dipshits.
Adams is gonna set up, like, a Bitcoin ATM in her district or
Yeah.
something. Like, "Yeah, man.
It's gonna
Got
be
you."
fine. It's gonna be fine. Yeah. We're gonna make
Uh,
it. I think we're gonna be okay.
yeah,
I think we're
yeah,
gonna be all right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, well, be back next week, post Valentine's Day, all the stories and everything therein.
Yeah. All the stories of all the dates.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. All the stuff we did and everything.
Oh, the
Great.
news stories. Right.
Yeah,
News
yeah, the
stories.
news
Yeah.
the news stories,
Mhm.
exactly. Keep your eyes on
Yes.
the prize.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna get these rest of these boxes out of here. So
Yeah, 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 yeah.
um
Help George Santos go off into the gray lands, you know?
yeah, yeah. Big things coming up, I hope.
Well, thanks everybody for listening. Like, subscribe to the YouTube, grab the podcast wherever you're grabbing it from, and keep it up.
Peace.
Later.